What's up, everybody? This is Dandy Time Cafe, where we talk about Andrew Lang's How the Dragon Was Tricked. This is written inside the Pink Fairy book and entered into public domain, as it was written inside the late 1800s. Enjoy. Once upon a time, there lived a man who had two sons, but they did not get along at all well together. For the younger was more handsome, and the elder was more ugly, and very jealous of his younger brother. When they grew older, things became worse and worse, and one day while they were walking through the woods, the elder brother grabbed a hold of his younger brother and tied him to the tree and went on his way, hoping that the boy might starve to death. However, it happened an old humpbacked shepherd passed the tree with his flock, and seeing the prisoner, he stopped and said to him, "Tell me, my son, why are you tied to that tree?" "Because I was so crooked," answered the young man, "but it has quite cured me, and now my back is as straight as can be." "I wish you would bind me to a tree," exclaimed the shepherd, "so that my back would get straight." "With all the pleasure in life," replied the youth. "If you will loosen these cords, I will tie you up with them as firmly as I can." This was soon done, and the young man drove off the sheep, leaving the real shepherd to repent his folly. And before he had gone very far, he met with a horseboy and a driver of oxen, and he persuaded them to turn with him and to seek for adventures. By these and many other tricks, he soon became so celebrated that his fame reached the king's ears, and his majesty was filled with curiosity to see the man who had managed to outwit everybody. So he commanded his guards to capture the young man and bring him before him. And when the young man stood before the king spoke to him and said, "By your tricks and pranks that you have played on other people, you have, in the eye of law, forfeited your life. But on one condition I will spare you, and that is, if you will bring me the flying horse that belongs to the great dragon. Fail in this, and you shall be hewn in 1,000 pieces." "If that is all," said the youth, "you shall soon have it." So he went out and made his way straight to the stable where the flying horse was tethered. He stretched his hand out cautiously to seize the bridle, but the horse suddenly began to neigh as loud as he could. Now the room in which the dragon slept was just above the stable, and at the sound of the neighing, he awoke and cried to the horse, "What's the matter, my treasure? Is anything hurting you?" After waiting a little while, the young man tried again to loose the horse, but a second time it neighed so loudly the dragon woke up in a hurry and called out to know why the horse was making such a fuss. But when the same thing happened a third time, the dragon lost his temper and went down into the stable and took a whip and gave the horse a good beating. This offended the horse and made him very angry, and when the young man stretched out his hand to untie his head, he made no further fuss, but instead suffered himself to be led quietly away. Once clear of the stables, the young man sprang on his back and galloped off, calling over his shoulder, "Hi, dragon, dragon, if anyone asks you what has become of your horse, you can say I have gotten him." But the king was not so easily impressed, and said, "The flying horse is all very well, but I want something more. You must bring me the covering with the little bells that lies on the bed of the dragon, or I will have you hewn into 1,000 pieces." "Is that all?" answered the youth. "That is easily done." And when night came, he went away to the dragon's house and climbed up on the roof. He then opened a little window in the roof and let down a chain from which the kettle usually hung and tried to hook the bed covering and to draw it back up. But the little bells all began to ring, and the dragon awoke and said to his wife, "Wife, you have pulled off all the bedclothes," and drew the coverings toward him, pulling, as he did so, the young man into the room. The dragon flung himself on the youth and bound him fast with the cords, saying as he tied the last knot, "Tomorrow when I go to church, you must stay home and kill him and cook him, and when I get back we will eat him together." So the following morning the dragoness took hold of the young man and reached down from the shelf a sharp knife, with which she planned to kill him. But as she untied the cords to get better hold of him, the prisoner caught her by the legs and threw her to the ground, seizing her and speedily cutting her throat. And then, without a single second thought, put her body in the oven. He then snatched up the covering and carried it to the king. The king was seated on his throne when the youth appeared before him and spread out the covering with a deep bow. "That is not enough," said his majesty. "You must bring me the dragon himself, or I will have you hewn into 1,000 pieces." "It shall be done," answered the youth, "but you must give me 2 years to manage it, for my beard must grow so that he may not know it is me." "So be it," said the king. And the first thing the young man did when his beard was grown was to take to the road to the dragon's house. And, on the way, he met a beggar whom he persuaded to change clothes with him, and in the beggar's garments he went fearlessly forth to the dragon. He found his enemy before his house, very busy making a box, and addressed him politely. "Good morning, your worship. Have you a morsel of bread?" "You must wait," replied the dragon, "till I have finished my box, and then I will see if I can find you one." "What will you do with the box when it's made?" inquired the beggar. "It is for the young man who killed my wife, and stole my flying horse, and my bed covering," said the dragon. "He deserves nothing better," answered the beggar, "for it was an ill deed. Still, that box is too small for him, for he was a big man." "You are wrong," said the dragon. "The box is large enough for even me." "Well, the rogue is nearly as tall as you," replied the beggar, "and, of course, if you can get in, he can. But I am sure you would find it a tight fit." "Now, there is plenty of room," said the dragon, tucking himself carefully inside. But no sooner was he well in than the young man clapped on the lid and called out, "Now press hard, just to see if he's able to get out." The dragon pressed as hard as he could, but the lid never moved. "It is all right," he called. "Now you can open it." But instead of opening it, the young man drove in long nails to make it tighter still. Then he took the box on his back and brought it to the king. And when the king heard that the dragon was inside, he was so excited that he could not wait one moment, but broke the lock and lifted the lid just a little way to make sure he was really in there. He was very careful not to leave enough space for the dragon to jump out, but unluckily there was just enough room for his great mouth, and with one snap, the king vanished down his wide red jaws. Then the young man married the king's daughter and ruled over the land, but what he did with the dragon, nobody knows. Hey guys, that was the How the Dragon Got Tricked. Do me a favor if you did like this, please do like the video, and inside the comments, tell me what you thought about the king. He sounded like a jerk. I mean, you have me not only have to get the flying horse, but also get the bells, and I was supposed to be scot-free, but now you want me to get the whole dragon too? I don't know. I don't know if that was a good thing. And, you know, if you really do like everything, please do subscribe to the channel. It just helps us out very much, and peace.